to Booktalks Podcast. This is Kayla.
And Marissa.
And this week we read, surprisingly, Broken Bonds by Bree because we are going to read the Serpent book. I always forget the title of it.
The Serpents and the Wings of Night or something.
But it's a thick book and we didn't have time and there's no audio book out for that one. So we have a big deadline for work. So we had to switch gears. We hopped on the Broken Bonds train. To preface, we did not read the synopsis going into that book. We just followed the opinions of the people on Instagram and TikTok, and I don't know if I was led astray or where I was led.
Yeah, it's funny because it's an easy read in the sense that like I breezed right through it and I did want to like keep going, but it's kind of like Twilight where you're watching the movies and you're like, I know this is bad, but like I'm not going to stop watching. That's just kind of how I felt about this. Like I couldn't pull myself away even though it wasn't amazing.
So I'm ashamed to say that I have finished the second book today.
Well, the way the first one ended, I was like, do I just need to read the second one to find out like kind of what's going on?
Well, it's a 6 book series, so you won't find anything out until the end, but the second book was a really easy read.
They're pretty quick. I mean, the audiobook was only what, 8, 9 hours?
I did it on my Kindle too. I read the second one like straight up, and I just did it all night. And I and I know it's garbage, and I feel bad. It's not garbage, but like I know it's like reality TV, and I can't put it down.
It is. I mean, we already kind of discussed this, but it reads like teenager fan fiction. So, I mean, if that's what you like, it's really easy to get sucked into. But if you thought it was going to be some like high concept fantasy novel, no, 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 no. This is just garbage.
So I think what threw me off is the fact that it's a reverse harem, and I didn't expect it to be a reverse harem. So when you go through like the first chapter, and she's talking about how she has to bond and have sex with all these men, and I'm like, where did this come from out of left field? And the TikTok that drew me to this book was this one girl. I don't even know the TikTok's name, and she's like, "This is the next Akatar," and I was like, "Okay, like 6 book series,
So,
sign me up. Like, let's read it for the podcast." And I was not warned.
no, I was not warned. I also didn't know there even was a concept of 5 guys on one girl. Apparently, it's reverse harem, and that's the term.
It's a whole genre.
It's a whole genre. This was my first reverse.
It's a
So,
I read Secret Reverse Harems on my Kindle with
uh-huh.
the ones I don't save to my Goodreads account.
Hmm.
So this is much better than those. I think it's because, and I've read some reviews about the series after the fact. My favorite site to read reviews on is the Rambling Book Nerd. I think she has like a good voice of opinion. And she said her one complaint in the series, because she really likes it, is the lack of world building.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
have to agree with her. Like, we're thrown into this world, and I feel like the beginning was a little lost because we don't really know the power system. Like, we know people have powers, and I feel like that's kind of part of it. Like, we're supposed to be clueless and like don't know what she can do. But like, I don't even understand what like how are the people just living around humans? Like they keep mentioning non-gifted people, but like, are they just like, do everyone know about the gifted? Like,
Yeah, so I wasn't sure what world we were in. I got the concept of what she was building as far as like the bond system, the men need to bond to the women to achieve their greatest gifts, like it amplifies their magic or something, and like the women supposedly have a choice if they bond or not. I got that. I didn't know if this was like Crescent City-esque and we have, like guns and cannons or whatever. I don't know, or if this was supposed to be like present day, past day, future. Like I none of that's explained. You just go in blind and you stay blind the whole book.
well, and you don't even like they don't really mention they mention some weapons, but they don't really mention them being used. They mention bombs. mention cars, but like, and they do reference like the East Coast, West Coast. So like, I
Yeah.
assume we're in America, like we're in New York, and they mention Florida and New York and like these states, but like, where even is this college? Do we know?
No, and to be honest, it felt a little more like high school than college.
It does read a little bit fan fictiony. So actually, I see so much similarities with Zodiac Academy, which it's another one that I regretfully could not put down and like finish the entire series. The issue with that book is those books were like 900 pages, and I would sit through and read 900 pages of this story, and it was like, what am I reading? I'm like, I think I'm getting dumber reading this, but I couldn't put it down. So I'm like still invested. I think I'm like 9 books in. I actually bought them because I do like them. They're
Yeah.
like rotting
I
my
mean,
brain.
it's okay to like those things. I think we were both just shocked and taken aback because it is so popular and has really good reviews on Amazon. And I went into it expecting like a super cool fantasy book. And it was just like fan fiction, 5 guys, 1 girl. That's the plot.
Yes. The thing is, though, for Reverse Harem, they don't have any relations with her the first book.
No.
And well into the second book. I'm not gonna give the second book away, but like well into the second book, there's like nothing. And I'm like,
Okay.
I'm really so I do think she's a skill there, like creating these relationships with 5 guys, all starting from like kind of hate to love.
Yeah.
But and very unique relationships with
Uh-huh.
one main girl with
Uh-huh.
no sex driving the book. So I give her props for that. Um, it's a good like I wouldn't say the dating 5 guys is a good premise. I think the overall her being so magical and like this living bomb pretty much is a good idea. Okay,
Uh-huh.
you know what? We gotta embrace the reverse harem. We gotta
We do.
really
We do.
we gotta be with the young kids. Come on, we're dating. We're making ourselves look old.
Okay, boomer. I love reverse harems. Clearly read them all the time. Duh.
Oh gosh.
No, it's good. I like the relationships with all the different well, I got a little confused about North and Knox because for the first 70% of the book I thought they were the same person. And I was just confused when I realized they were separate people. Because she named them very similarly. North, Knox, Griffin, Gabe, and then Atlas. Who I feel like Atlas is gonna be a bad guy. Because he's like giving her freedom, but still wanting to possess and control her, but kind of in a manipulative way, I think.
He kind of gives me the ick. And I
Yeah.
don't know if it's like because I'm damaged and like any nice guy, I'm like, oh, automatically no. Like, give me the damaged.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, no, I he gives me the ick too. Like I don't trust someone who's gonna be nice. Absolutely not.
Well, yeah, like right off the bat. No, from the get-go, he like gave me an ick. Like even his text messages, I was just like, I would cringe whenever actually any like so I half read it, half listened. And
Mhm.
when I'm listening, I cringe so much more. And whenever Atlas would talk, I would just cringe. Like my shoulders would be up my neck. I'm like, what is this? Like, stop talking.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, I didn't love Atlas. I also didn't love Gabe because and I said this in a TikTok. This feels like a Tamlin scenario where she was trying to push Gabe on us. Like Ollie was very attracted to him and he can be really nice to her, but then he can also be really mean and he never sticks up for her. Like Knox's girlfriends or maybe North's girlfriends, I can't remember because I thought they were the same person, but their girlfriends were like always being mean to Ollie. And instead of Gabe being like, shut the hell up, this is my bonded woman, be quiet, he would just sit there quietly and let them trash her. And I was like, you really should stand up for your woman. So I'm not rooting for Gabe or Atlas.
I kind of like Gabe. I kind of feel like he's just like a puppy dog. He
Yes.
gives me more not Tamlin vibes, but Lucian.
Okay, Lucian, yeah.
He gives me
Sure.
Lucian, just like a little puppy dog, or more like Jacob from Twilight vibes. Actually, that's what it is for me. He's Jacob from Twilight.
Well, that's good. I mean, yeah, I don't hate him. I just don't feel like he's her mate, like her soulmate or anything. But I don't really get how reverse harems work. Like, will she just have one that she's most no, it's like okay, all right. See, I'm not up to speed on what's going on here.
It's like fully all of them at all times is the reverse harems that I have read. So I was telling the concept of the book to Tom, and I was like, oh, like they're all bonded to her. And like for us readers, whenever I hear the word bonded, like I automatically know it's souls. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
he's like, but where are they bonded? I was like, what do you mean? He's like,
Human centipede.
bonded.
He's got to be concerned about what kind of books you're reading.
Trying so hard. I was like, no, they're souls. And he's like, what does that even mean? And I was like, you don't get it. Their souls are just like destined to be together. And explaining this to a non-reader is so hard. Oh man, it was so funny.
I was trying to explain it to my sister's husband after church. We all went to church and we came home and I was like, I gotta finish this book. I have like 5 minutes left because I actually hadn't finished it. And I said, like, he asked, like, oh, what's it about or something. I was like, oh, it's like 5 guys and they need to have sex with this one girl. They're all supposed to sleep with her, but I don't know if it has to happen at once. I don't know.
It's funny because like in the reading community, this is like literally people don't bat an eyelash at
No.
a plot line like this. This is a run of the mill any old day. You tell us to anyone off the street, they're like, who, like, what is wrong with you? What are you into?
Yeah, why? Like, it doesn't even make sense, like human centipede. I can see why, Tom would have gone there. Like, they're all bonded. So which end goes where?
I think he just thought their arms were all attached. Honestly, in his pure mind, he was like, they're all just attached. I was like, no.
All holding hands. Oh my gosh. No, that's funny. Yeah, this is my first reverse. So I guess in my mind I was thinking there would be like one clear winner of the five, but I guess I'm just supposed to give all five relationships a chance.
Pretty much. It's
Okay.
from the world, it sounds like that. So it's also weird to me because she like grew up knowing her mom just had like multiple men in like
Yeah.
relations. And it was
Yeah.
fun. Like her mom had slept with multiple men in the house and she was just like, they're all my dads.
They're all my dads. I wanted to know more about that because obviously she's very much like, I'm not going to bond with any of them. And she has her reasons. But if there wasn't like this danger, this threat of her magic, would she be open to bonding with all of them the way her mother did? Like, is that something she's interested in?
I feel like also everyone's grown up to be like. They're all like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is normal. Let's all have troples or thruples, that's what I think they're called, and other X and more.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's hard. I should have read the book right away because I like want to. I need to refrain from what stopped at book one.
Mhm.
I will be finishing the series though. I can
Wow.
already tell. I can't put it down. I
I
need
mean,
to know. I need to know if she bonds with all of them.
I do too. I like, for me, I feel like Knox is actually going to be Knox and Griffin are the two front runners for
No, I
me.
think you mean North. Knox is the one who hates her.
No, but I think it's going to be Knox. I think it's going to be Knox and Griffin. And I'm a little confused about North's age and her age because North is like an established councilman with like a mansion and she's like 19.
So they're 10 years apart. Yeah.
That's not as bad as I thought.
So they're 10 years apart. She's 5 years apart from Griffin and Knox. And
Okay.
then Gabe and Atlas are closer age. So
I think also confused on the five guys, like because they're bonded to her, do they all have to move in together? And like how does it work?
I don't get it. Well, it sounded like from Sage's family that she like has like one dad and like two moms, and like they
Oh,
all just live together.
I didn't pick up on that.
Like she calls her like her dad's other bonded by her first name was like Michelle, and then like she had her mom. And like
Mm,
Michelle works with like North. So like she basically essentially grew up with two moms and one dad. And I think I don't even remember I don't remember if her brother has like a different mom, but
for some reason, I was thinking in this world, it was only a ton of guys on one girl.
no, it can go both ways.
It can go both ways. Okay.
So they use the word central, which is
Uh-huh.
what Ollie is and her
Uh-huh.
mom is. Um, and then men can be centrals too. It's just whoever's like the most powerful of them all. I think it's like how you're just born.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so it can be men. It's not all just reverse harems. It just this bonding situation that happens to be reverse harem. I don't know. Okay, so one thing, the boys are so dumb because they're like all these really powerful men, and they assume I'm like it seems like you get power bonded with someone who's equal to your power. So for them
Hmm.
to assume that Ollie has no power, like how dumb could they be?
I mean, that and the part about thinking her period was a botched abortion. I'm just like, do they have no like common sense? Has nothing ever happened to them in the real world? Because that makes no sense.
And Griffin has a sister. Like he should know.
Yes. Well, Griffin at least was picking up that she probably had power. So then when he was like, Ollie, you have to tell me, is this a botched abortion? I'm like, dude, she's not sleeping with anyone. Like, how would it even wouldn't it make more sense that it's just her time of the month? Like, I didn't get it. It was crazy. And yeah, like the power, they had to know. Also, just like the belittling her for not having power when most likely she does. Like you're bonded to five really powerful guys, right? Like the Duvron, what are they called?
I don't know,
Duvron?
brothers.
Yeah,
Two
the brothers.
brothers.
The two brothers, we know they're powerful. We don't
Yeah.
know what their magic is in the first book, but we know it's something powerful. And then Atlas ends up showing that he's pretty powerful too. We have to assume Griffin and
Gabe. Gabe.
Gabe. Who's left? Yeah, like I would assume. Although actually, I don't know if Gabe's powerful because, like you said, he kind of gives off puppy vibes.
He's just Jacob from Twilight.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I don't know why they were like, oh, she has nothing. That kind of irked me. As the book progressed, she got less annoying because we got less of her inner monologue of her just hating her life and like
Yeah.
just her living her life and like out of her head a little bit. So I feel like that was a little less. The first couple chapters of her alone in her head, going through the motions, I was like, I can't. This sounds like a 17-year-old fan fiction right here.
Well, I assume it didn't have an editor. Like, I'm gonna assume this was self-published with no editor because, yeah, the first half just reads like fan fiction. And like it was good, don't get me wrong, like I was wanting to find out what was gonna happen, but it definitely was annoying, like she was annoying, whiny, but also I'm a little confused still at the end. Like, does she have a choice or not? Because North is locking her up in his mansion. Like, first of all, she had a curfew. She had to be in her dorm room. She's not allowed to have a life. And then at the end, like, North's like, you're going to stay in this mansion because you can't behave. And Atlas is trying to convince her to go to Pennsylvania or New York or something. I just can't figure out, like, can she leave? Is she allowed? Like, why is she obeying North?
Because she has a bomb in her neck.
What?
The tracker.
The tracker.
But the guy said if you go anywhere, you'll blow your head off or something like that.
Oh, I totally didn't pick that up. I just thought it was tracking her. Got
Well,
it.
it was just
Okay.
this one guy was like, this will blow you up if you try to escape. So
Oh,
she thought she couldn't.
okay. Well, that's fair, I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't love her as a main character, but I don't hate her as much at the end. I don't really get what her power is. It sounds like it's just killing people.
I know, I want a cooler power than just killing people. Like, give me some fire.
Yeah, like I didn't. They called her a void, which I thought sounded cool, but then it wasn't explained. Like book one literally ends with her using her power and then they board a ship or something. And I'm like, what? Like that's where it ends? No explanation of anything?
So apparently in her synopsis, she warns that it ends on a cliffhanger. All her books do.
Okay.
It also warns that it's a reverse harem. I think we just missed those warnings. It literally says in the synopsis, warning, this is a reverse harem.
We went in completely blind.
I think I texted you, I was like, this is a reverse harem. Like, I'm done. And then I was. Oh, man.
So funny.
Uh,
Okay, well, I mean, I didn't hate it. Like, I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
I just hate that we always use this, like, on the internet, on Bookstagram, TikTok, the new Akatar. Like, there is no new Akatar. Fourth one was really good, actually, I do admit. And it was, like, up to tier with Akatar, but, like, we gotta just stop using this analogy because it, like, sets your expectations so high to be let down.
Yeah, and I don't even know why we are still comparing things to ACOTAR. ACOTAR's a pretty older series at this point. Like Silver Flames is newer, but I mean, she's come out with Crescent City since then, and there are other series out there to compare to. Um, but I don't think anything written in this format can be compared.
People are. They're comparing it. And
Yeah.
it just like sets you over disappointment. Like if someone just be like, this is a really good romance, like fantasy romance, I'd be like, okay, like I'll go in
Yeah.
a little less expectation wise, but I went
Uh-huh.
into this so like with such high expectations.
Well, this first book alone can't even be compared to Agatar. I have to assume they're talking about the series as a whole because in the first book, there's literally no romance. So, like, how could it be Akatar?
Literally no spice. Oh, well, I think if you look at the first Agatar book though, there's like very little like there's romance, but like I think her and Tamlin like kiss once.
That's true. I guess the first book does have Tamlin in it.
Maybe they had actually I don't even think her and
I
Tamlin
don't
had sex.
know. He like after the Calamai or whatever, he like attacks her and is like being a beast, and then he's like, "JK, I'm not gonna do you against your will." Thanks,
Yeah.
Tamlin.
So I feel like maybe I mean, so yeah, maybe that's part. It's so much like Zodiac Academy, which Zodiac Academy had so much potential because it has the coolest, it's like this like magic, it's such a cool magic world, and it's like this magic like actual college, high school like vibe where like there's dorms and it's like feels like college. But they just take so many twists and turns that you're like, what the hell is going on? And you're like, what is this? And it's also just like a really hard bully romance. And I'm like, I can't get behind this, but I also
Mhm.
can't put it down. So this book though uses so many of the names in Zodiac Academy. There's a
Really?
Gabe.
Huh.
They call the teacher Noxie, which is Nox.
I wonder if this was like fan fiction off of Zodiac Academy.
Well, and then they all have different powers. There's shifters, there's like, but that one also like they also have like different forms where they turn into animals too. Like there's
Mhm.
like dragons, but then they also have elemental power. It's a weird world. And
This
like
sounds like Crave.
it's actually not as bad as I like this better than Crave. My
Okay.
favorite part though is like so whatever your animal is where how you get your energy up. So like
Mm.
dragons just have to sit in gold to regain their energy. That's my favorite
Oh,
part.
oh my gosh.
Or
Wow.
like the phoenixes have to just like sit near a fire and that's how like, they restore their energy. Or like the unicorns have they just like fly in the air. So it's like funny like that.
Uh-huh.
The books are just so thick. I don't know. It's literally like I'm book 9. I keep thinking it's gonna end, and then they release another one coming out. I'm like, kill me.
Is
I'm
this series
committed.
complete?
This one
This
is.
one?
It's
Okay.
done. 6 books. I guess 6 books, 6 people in this bond.
Oh, interesting.
Um. So I don't know if that's like a foreshadowing when she's gonna like bond with somebody in each book or like what's up. She didn't bond with anybody in this book, but
Mm-mm, that's interesting. Yeah. Huh. I don't know. I didn't love the scene with Knox where it's like, could
Yeah.
it be? Yeah, that was like uncomfortable to think about after because it's like that was on the line.
She also just could have just like, I don't know why she was like pushing her gift so far down.
Yeah, like just use your voice to just be like, stop it. And then if he does it, it's clear, like clear as day.
Yeah, she didn't like, I mean, it's not her fault and what he did was wrong. But
Yeah,
also knowing how powerful she currently is,
I know.
why did she just sit there and take it? She
Yeah,
can literally kill somebody without even thinking.
I know. Which, yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess she wouldn't want to kill her bonded because even though she hates him, her bond like wants to be with him. So it's like a conflict of interest there. She can't kill him, but also she wants to kill him. But I don't know. Yeah, like I hated that scene. I didn't like that she wrote it in just because it is like a really gray area. And then afterwards, when he was like, "Oh, well, she liked it," like she didn't say no, she liked it. I was just like, okay, I don't know, Knox.
I don't like him in general. I don't think that part at sea was needed. I feel like it came out of left field.
I
Like
feel the same way.
she was just picked up from Atlas's apartment, like took her home. Like she just went home and unpouted. It kind of would have the same effect. I'm sure Atlas would have came storming there anyway.
Yeah.
But her and Knox just had a fight in the hallway. And it would have
Mhm.
gave the same effect that the
Yeah.
author was trying to make.
Yeah,
But
because now I feel like if they do end up, like if she does end up falling for him, I'm always gonna have a bad vibe about him because of that scene.
yeah, it's gonna be really hard to recover him
Hmm.
or to
But we'll
redeem
see.
him.
We'll see.
I I'm committed now.
You're committed. Are you buying them?
No, so I read it. It's on Kindle Unlimited. So
Okay.
I read it on Kindle Unlimited. So yeah, I've just been doing that.
Wow.
I should have worked today, but instead I read the entire book in a day.
I refuse to work on Sundays. I'm like, we work enough. Sundays are off day.
I couldn't bring myself to do it at all. So I don't really care. It's fine. I will read a chapter before I go to bed, but then I'm gonna have to turn it off for like a day or two until I get like all my stuff done. But it's like it's Twilight. It's good. Like I can't stop. Like I'm excited to read it. Like
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely for some people. I think I may read the second book just because I didn't like how the first book ended and just see if I can get some answers. But I'm so worried it's gonna suck me in. I don't know. But it also makes me worried for Serpents and the Wings of Night because we're supposed to do that for the podcast. And everyone on Book Talk has recommended it and said it's the next ACOTAR. So I'm like, I don't know if I can trust you, Book Talk.
so I started Serpent's book. I was only like 20% in, because I thought we were gonna do it for the podcast, and it's not a reverse harem.
Oh, okay.
Um, I didn't like the first chapter 'cause I just couldn't get into it, but once I got into it, I wanted to read it. Like
Okay.
I was upset that I had to switch gears, but I really like it. It's just a really thick book, but no, I'm a fan of it so far.
Okay, good. Yeah, because people said the beginning's a little slow on that one, but it's really good by the end.
Yeah, no, I'm intrigued. Now they're like, I won't give anything away, but now that they're like moving with it 20% in, I'm like, I wanted to like pick it up. So
Okay, how do you rate a book like this?
it's hard because like normally when you read a book, you want to read on how it makes you feel,
Mhm,
how easy of a read was it, and the writing and the
mhm.
character development. It was a really easy read.
Really easy.
Um, Overall, the book makes me feel good. I want to read the second one,
Yeah, I do too.
but the writing is
Uh-huh.
subpar, and the character development
There's
isn't
not
there.
much,
There's
it's
not
not
there.
there in book one.
No, we see her just accept her fate in book one.
Well, and then at the very end, she fights back for her bonds, like for the people she loves. Actually, for Sage mostly, but also Gabe was there.
That was another thing. Her arguing, no, them being like, "What do you just like Sage?" Like, oh my God, like, please, immature, immature
That's
boys right here.
that's why I said it felt more like high school than college, because I'm like, seriously, that's what boys said in high school. Like, come on.
So I give it like a 3.5.
Okay, okay. Yeah. 3. I'll give it a solid 3.
It's not a 4. I wouldn't recommend this to anybody. Only
Oh,
like
it's so hard. Everyone on Book Talk's gonna hate me.
they're
They
gonna cancel
all
us.
what they did already cancel us. It's true. Yeah. One of my friends on Book Talk, though, who reached out to me after kind of all the drama went down with us getting canceled, with me getting canceled, she reached out and she like said, oh, I think what they're doing is horrible, blah blah blah. And she has like 50,000 followers. But she doesn't get into drama. She just silently reached out to me. And I posted about reading Broken Bonds on TikTok, and she commented and said, "This is one of my favorite series." And so now I'm like, oh, I don't want to make my only friend on Book Talk mad. But like, I'm gonna read the second book, so obviously I don't hate it that much.
We don't hate. I wouldn't say I hate them. I don't think I hate it. I just know for what it just wasn't what we were expected,
Right.
and it's like reality TV. Like
Yeah.
it's not going to be an award-winning movie,
Yeah.
but many people are going to tune in and read it. There are some very harsh reviews on Goodreads. I did look at the 1-star reviews, and people are ruthless.
Oof.
Um, but as people love it, like there was like so drastic the opinions of it.
Mhm.
But I went into this book completely blind, so I had no idea until I was in it, and I was like, what is going on?" But
Well,
um,
I think the thing is, if you hate fan fiction or if you want something more elevated, you're going to give this a 1-star review. If you enjoy trashy reality TV and Twilight and all that kind of stuff, and you're like pleasantly surprised, then like you're going to like it. And there's not much of an in between. We're kind of the in between.
we are the in between. Yeah. I thought I was actually out of my reverse harem phase, but I might be back in it.
Oh no. Oh no. Tom better not check what's on your Kindle going forward.
Well, the good thing is you can't really tell from these covers of these books what this book's about. So I can post it on my Goodreads. And I was
Mhm.
literally like, he was playing video games and I was reading today, and I was like, he has no idea I'm reading a book about 5 men and 1 girl.
Until you told him and he misconstrued it as holding hands.
Yeah, he still wasn't phased though. He was like, "Oh, they're all bonded as one." I was like, "Yep,
Makes
that's
sense.
what I'm reading."
Uh,
Yeah, quick read. I would recommend if you like any quick romance, I probably would recommend.
yeah. I think people who are on Kindle Unlimited like this type of book. So, if you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, go for it. Absolutely.
Thanks for listening. This is Kayla,
And Marissa.
and make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Booktalks Podcast. Have a good night.